Go ahead, take us in, Grant.
I'm not recording yet.
We are.
Yeah.
Are we?
Is my right. Welcome to Guns, Twigs and Wigs.
Send, baby.
The podcast about music.
Sometimes.
All right. What's up, beautiful people? This is your boy Johnny Jones. I got my man Steve with me. Say what's up, Steve.
What's up, Steve? That's all.
And I got my man Grant with me. Say what's up, Grant.
Cheers, fuckers.
He doesn't take direction very well, man.
He doesn't, but it's all good. You know, that's the G-man, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, you know, thank you guys for listening. We are Bones, Twigs, and Wigs, and we're coming to you with another episode of Vinyl Impressions. And this episode, man, is going to be really dope. I'm pretty sure it is, because we actually have a special guest. And for all of you guys who have been listening to us, who have been following us, you guys know our very few first episodes had, you know, a few different guests, and then we just kind of did the solo thing or the trio thing, if you will, for a while. But we're happy to have somebody on, man, and we got a great record. So yeah, man, should we bring him in, guys?
Let's do it.
We're gonna bring him in.
Why not?
Man, cue the drum roll, man. Yo, so everybody say what's up to Jerome. Jerome, say what's up, man.
Hey, what's happening, people? How you guys doing?
Good,
all
man.
Good, all good. So Jerome, man, we thank you so much for, you know, not having us, but, you know, being with us today. You know, we're happy to have you here, brother, and we're excited, man. We're excited. So for all of our listeners and viewers out there, Jerome, he found us on social media. You know, that's the power of social media. And he wanted to, you know, hop on the episode with us, and we checked him out. We're like, man, this dude is legit, you know? And the first thing we said is, well, you know, it's a vinyl based podcast. So, you know, do you have any vinyl? You got any albums that you want to, you know, cover during the episode? This man said, matter of fact, should I tell him now, or we're going to wait till later?
Let's wait. Let's wait for the
Yeah,
album.
let's
I think
wait.
we're
Okay,
We're going to talk about Jerome first.
We're gonna wait. But just know, when he said what album he picked, we all lost our minds. Like, I went back to the group chat, was like, oh my God, did he just say does he have that on vinyl? Oh my God. Like, we went crazy. So
It's amazing how you stumble across new artists, and when I used to play my own music around Manchester, you'd hear somebody and try and track their progress and things like that. And I've been away from that for a while, traveling, doing the ships. And before that, I lived in the Middle East for a little bit. And I feel like I've lost touch with more grassroots, you know, British music. I listen to what BBC Radio tells me to listen. If I'm in the car, I'm like, oh, cool. So if I happen to catch the shows that are doing BBC Introducing, etc., then you catch new things. So to have somebody come to us, and then say, check out my music, and I literally last night listened to one track, was like, that's really cool, and then like an hour later I was just laying in bed, like just listening to track after track after track. There's so many interesting elements there. I was saying before, like the Afro beats and like the sort of trap influence and the great vocals, a lot of sort of head voice falsetto stuff, and then some harsher hip hop elements to it, some more aggressive lyrics and some beautiful lyrics. There's some comedy in there. Literally, you ticked so many boxes that I loved. This song, like the one that hit me last night was "Come a Long Way" with featuring Ice Kid, I think. That's a tune. And then off the same recording sessions, I'd imagine, is Beatrice.
Yeah.
Which is a change that it changes into the club vibe, and you've got a filter on it, and it feels like you're going inside the club, and then just breaks back down again. That is cool. That is interesting. took my attention straight away. I could go into all your stuff like Stand Up with the guitar line and the way the vocals sit in and around the guitar line. And I was just sat there just scribbling down notes last night, but I don't want to talk too much about your music. People just need to go and listen to it.
yeah, they got to check it out.
But
yeah,
man,
his catalog is like extensive, bro.
Exactly,
I was like, yo, this dude has albums. I'm like, I'm thinking it's like a few singles. He's got albums, bro. Like, yeah, so definitely check him out, guys.
How did you? I mean, I know this is asking a very wide-ranging question, but you originally from Africa, or is your parents from Africa?
I was born in Zimbabwe, born and raised in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh yeah, man.
yeah. So I left Zimbabwe at the age of 17, ended up in Manchester for 5 years. 3.5 of those years, I was actually homeless in Manchester.
That must have been tough, man.
Yeah. And then ended up going back to Africa, kind of trying to record, not much happening. And then I ended up actually doing a show called Big Brother Africa. But I've been recording from 2008. The first time I ever laid vocals on one of my own tracks was in 2008.
Wow. How did you how do you find like the British influence to your music? 'Cause, like, say you've got some Afro stuff, you've got stuff from all over, the American influences there, obviously. Do you find that you an English influence, like the English like grime scene and all that sort of like finds its way in there?
Yeah. It's like, in terms of MCing, if you wanted to look at it from that perspective, I would say the UK probably has influenced me a lot more than hip hop, funny enough.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a fan of Jay-Z, even Biggie, but like even 50 Cent, you know, like I love some of the biggest names. Eminem, I love what they do as lyricists and as MCs, you know, the wordplay. But when you think about UK rap or grime.
By the way, before you say anything,
yeah,
you know what I hear in you?
Yeah.
Dizzy Rascal. Coming from Australia, that might be a very like broad spectrum, but when I hear your song like Heavy, I think, oh, nice. It's like he's got that Dizzy Rascal thing going on, which maybe is just like an English thing, but I like it. Can you talk about grime? Because I really don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, it came from garage and from like drum and bass, you know, MCs and stuff, basically spitting over drum and bass and stuff, and that's where grime kind of came from. When you think about it in general, like a lot of the MCs are inspired by a lot of the hip hop MCs from the past, but I found that these guys were more inspired by dancehall, and I was like, okay, I didn't quite get that. But dancehall elements is like, if you listen to even how Shabba Ranks and all of those guys sit on tracks, it's so different to the way most people would, you know. It's like like to do that, to actually like fit in a bunch of lyrics in a short space of time, and make sure you're on offbeat, whatever it is, but you it's, as you say, it's a vibe. It's a way you vibe with the track. It's your connection with the track. Whereas I felt that American MCing was more about what you actually like. It was more about the metaphors, the punchlines, you know. And then grime just took the best of both worlds. It was about punchlines, and it was about that. How do you sit on the track? Can you actually like, are you able to flow at the same pace? Can you set pace? You know, what is it that you can like vocally can you do that is different and strong? And I was like, okay, cool. And I started to listen to a guy called Kano.
Kano's a legend.
Yeah.
Legend, Kano.
I've seen Top Boy. I didn't know the guy. Yeah. Okay.
Well, he's like old school. He's old school for us here, but he's brought out stuff recently as well, I think.
He's old school, definitely. He's a legend to the grime scene. Probably if you ask me, hands down, the biggest and the like. I'll put him at number one out of the UK in terms of MC. Like he's just one of the guys that has not just been a trailblazer, but like he was the first grime MC to actually go commercial, spit in grime. Like Dizzy Rascal went and commercialized it. He commercialized what he was doing. He didn't stay true to the actual genre.
He definitely went more towards a pop culture side of it. Definitely, he did the hits, the club scene, all that. Definitely. Yeah.
Like Bonkers, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you wouldn't get Kano doing Bonkers. Kano would not do
more
Bonkers.
Towards the pop side.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. I hate that song.
Really? I fucking love it. I love it. But in Australia, that was a huge hit.
Oh yeah.
It was. I mean, if you think about Bonkers is more. It's more along the lines of EDM. Like
it is really, yeah. Because like, I mean, I love Dizzy Rascal, But
Yeah.
I love Dance With Me. I love Holiday. I
That's
love
Calvin, yeah.
I love
Good track.
chilling with the Manda. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually went and listened to Dizzy Rascal. And I was like, oh, this motherfucker's got some jams, you know. But everybody in Australia they only know bunkers. That's it. They only know bunkers.
Whereas if you listen to Kano, he's very lyrical,
Yeah.
very dark. Like the stuff they talk about in grime is street life.
I think of Kano like
Ice Cube?
the British version. No, I say more like the British version of like a Nas. He's like a street poet. You know, he goes in depth about stuff. You know, and Dizzy would be like Vanilla Ice. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. No.
But they're more commercial. But like you know, he's talented. I mean, he's talented. He won the Mercury Music Prize when he was young. Like he is a talented guy. And he saw the commercial aspect and went, you know what, I can make a fuckload of money going that way. And I'm not saying he's a complete sellout. That's just obviously what he wanted to do and enjoy doing it, and made some great music. But you know.
Hey man, I've got a video on my hard drive that I'll never delete. It's a live concert, and it's Dizzy Rascal. He's got this electronica band as his backing band, and a string and a whole like string section and a choir. It's one of these like TV specials in England.
Yeah.
And he does all these songs, and he turns bunkers into like a country jam.
Wow.
The fact that he's willing to like change his music, and like he's an artist. At the very least, he's an artist. And I fucking love that.
Yeah, like in terms of musicality, when you talk about the MCs and stuff from England and grime and hip hop, it's like they are influenced by a lot of hip hop culture, you know, as hip hop culture is influenced by a lot of, you know, R&B like culture and jazz and funk. Like when you think about hip hop as well, it's like where it stemmed from. When you think about it, we all go back to that grassy kind of folk sound. That's kind of like the stepping stone into all of these genres that we love so much, and that's why they all kind of connected somehow.
I want to mention one thing because like just like Jerome is saying, like, you know, everything comes from something, right?
Yeah.
But I also want to mention how, real quick before we go into the record, I also want to mention how everything is kind of full circle, and how even though American hip hop has influenced hip hop from all over the world, you know, American hip hop is now starting to be influenced by their subgenres. So I'll give you an example. Are you guys familiar with the rapper? He passed away, I think, last year. His name is Pop Smoke, and he's from New York.
Yeah, he was influenced by the scene out here, basically in England.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So it's crazy because I remember like kind of seeing Pop Smoke on like Instagram and things like that, and I didn't really pay him no mind. I remember hearing the beat that he was rapping on.
Really?
And you know, a lot of them, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, people in America, especially kids in America, they're not listening to UK rap. So when they hear that beat, it's something new to them. But to me, I'm like, yo, that beat, I'm like, I bet you $100, I bet you $1,000 that whoever produced that beat is British. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. So but then the fact that Pop Smoke took that, and I did my research, everything, I looked it up. I can't remember the name of the producer. From like
808.
The 808, yeah. And I was just like, yo, I was like, this dude is like, he's changing it. Now everybody over here wants that beat, especially if they're like a New York rapper. It's like it's become like one of the New York sounds now. You know what I'm saying? You got all of these like New York, Fabio, Foreign, all of these like ASAP cats is coming out of nowhere, and they want that. It's what they're calling it drill beats. And
called drill out here.
So we call it drill, right? All right, cool. So
it's UK drill.
It's gangs against gangs,
UK
almost,
drill.
isn't it? Drill music was gangs calling out gangs, if I'm correct in saying that. Like on Facebook videos and things that have a beat, and it'd be like the area codes and things like that, you know.
Man, let me tell you something. Like, I've had at least like 3 people since Pop Smoke died. I've had 3 people hit me up like, yo, can you make me one of them Pop Smoke drill beats? And I'm like, I can try. Like, you know what I'm saying? That stuff, like, it's hard to do, man. It's a lot of like nuances and like, you know, the 808s is doing one thing, your hi-hats is doing it, the snare is like kind of like crazy. It's like, but when it comes together, it's super dope. And like I said, like I remember the first time hearing that type of beat. It was, you know, it was a UK rapper over top of it. So then, you know, all of a sudden you got Pop Smoke bringing it, you know, bringing some light to it and bringing it to the state, trying to make it his own. I just wish that the world understood like where that beat came from, like where that foundation, you know what I'm saying, came from. They think that, you know, it's like a New York thing or that Pop Smoke did it. No, Pop Smoke just like, you know, and rest in peace to Pop Smoke. He's awesome rapper, lyricist, all that stuff. God rest his soul. But it's like, you know, I say all of this to say like it's so ironic and so funny how American hip hop can influence everybody else, but then, you know, we're still being influenced by the same people that who are influenced by us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I mean, you could look at it from a very different angle. People like Quincy Jones have openly stated it before about hip hop culture heavily being influenced by the dancehall culture and stuff. But it's African as well. Like, you know, the whole idea of beats and rap. Like if you listen to a lot of traditional chanting, it sounds like people are rapping over drums. You know, so as you say, like we all influence each other, and it's just you will never ever like culture evolves, you know, and that's just the way I look at it. It's like how you have UK drill.
I wish everybody else did.
Yeah.
How you have UK drill. In fact, you got drill in Oz as well. In Australia, you've got Australian guys that are trying to do drill and grime. You've got Australian grime.
Oh yeah. All everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, so it's kind of like, we influence each other, but then there's certain elements that are created because of the culture that's already present in certain places that elevates something to something else. Like pop doing what Pop done. Pop took a 50 Cent vocal and threw it on a drill beat, and he just knew that it was bound to do something with the region that he's coming from.
Crazy. Like he knew, because like Pop Smoke, he's got, and like you said, 50 Cent vocal, because he's got like this 50 Cent style to him. Like 50 Cent was his mentor, but then like Pop also has like this voice, like the tone of his voice is catchy, you know what I'm saying? It's sellable, you know? And on top of that, when you really listen to this cat, he's actually spitting. Like when he stops talking about the Audemars, the Rollies, and the, you know, and the watches and the Beamers and all this stuff. But when he's actually like trying to say something, it's like, yo, he can actually rap. And then on top of all of that, he has like his own style. That's what every musician, every artist, that's what they dream of, having their own sound. You know what I'm saying? So my man Depp, before he left this earth, he definitely accomplished that. And real quick before we get into it, because like how you said, like, you know, Quincy Jones said what he said, it just made me think about KRS-One. We all know that KRS-One is the teacher, and we know he's like a pioneer for hip hop. He's always schooling people with hip hop. And one thing that he always says, like when he's breaking down the definition of hip hop or the meaning behind that word hip hop, hip as in to get you hip, as in to school you, to, you know, to give you knowledge, and then hop to move, to dance, to, you know, jump, you know what I'm saying? Like that's all it's about, you know what I'm saying? And that's where it came from, like, you know, being able to like rap, but actually having a message within that rap, and then being able to move the crowd within that message. Like, it's beautiful, bro. Like this joint is like, it's like Kung Fu or something like that, bro. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a way of, I feel like Bruce Lee or something, man. Like for real, you know?
I feel like every element of all these things we're talking about come from, as Jerome said before, like come from folk music and blues.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about like the westernized version, obviously the African versions, the Australian versions, the Japanese version. Every single culture has their own way of telling important stories, and it evolves over time, and that's what we're coming to. You've released a new track every week this year.
Yeah, I mean we're trying to do that for the year, or until something catches, and then once that something catches, then we have another 3 tiers that we're ahead of ourselves before the second album.
That's insane.
Like, yeah. Well, second,
I
third,
mean,
third album.
So what? Hang on. Wait. So every single week of the year, you're releasing a new song.
Pretty much at this point, we're monitoring people's reception to the work that we're putting out. You know, what people like, what people don't like, what people heavily will associate with the brand. I've also done that on purpose in terms of genre, where I didn't actually just be like, I'm making R&B, or I'm making soul, or I'm making hip hop, or I'm making grunge. I done that where where I kind of done this scope of things, because I wanted people to see that my instrument, I'm just playing my instrument with alongside. If you guys are jamming, I'm coming to jam with you. You know, if so and so who's jamming with just drums, I'm gonna go jam with them. I wanted to showcase that my instrument, my vocal, has the ability to play with like multiple instruments. And when I say catches, I just mean let's see if something does go viral, then we know, okay, cool, now's a good time for us to start the EP process, where we might just drop a few EPs and then maybe 1 or 2 singles off the next album. But if nothing goes viral, then until the end of this year, I'm going to be releasing a song every week.
That's amazing. That's a work ethic that's going to get you good things as well. That's really going to get you, because the quality you're putting out is a very high level. And if you can contain that
100%.
at that level for every week, that's insane. That's superb. I mean, you should be proud of yourself.
Thank you.
That's amazing. If you were going to recommend 3 songs for our listeners to listen to, which would give a broad view of what you do, because like you were saying before, there is different stuff everywhere. You've got some great R&B falsetto vocals and stuff. You've got some collaborations. You've got some harder hip hop stuff. Some more like dancehall traps, like we just talked about. Which 3 would you recommend them listen to first to give a view?
The XL.
It's a tough one.
Dude, there's no pressure. It's okay.
I'll start with Rate You. The reason why I say Rate You is it's a track that kind of speaks to me a ton. You know, it's talking about people that don't actually back you when you're doing what you're doing. And we get caught up in that. I'm talking like family, you know, and friends, where you're making stuff and no one is really giving you the traction or the support that you think you should be getting from them. I'll start with Rate You.
Love that track.
And then Heavy, funny enough, because I feel like Heavy is also quite different. It's got a lot of Missy Elliott, kind of Timberland, Swiss Beats vibes as well in that track, which showcases...
I gotta say, there's one lyric in there that made me giggle to myself, because you've got a certain humor to yourself lyrically that can seem quite straight, and then there's just a twist of humor, which I really like. What was the one that was getting to me? Rate You is definitely one, the chorus line, but I don't really rate you. At the end of it, the final sentence, there's a little gap, and then you say it, and it's like just that little twist. But on Heavy, it's a Missy meets Clips. Yeah. Missy meets Clips because the beat's so heavy. Like Missy Elliott meets Clips. Clips is obviously, you know, some of the best beat makers of the last 20 years, you know. And I thought that was a great lyric because you can almost miss it. I thought that was just a great lyric for a chorus, man. That was sick because it sums up the feel of the song as well. It's like you're paying homage to that, so that's great. I'm glad you said that. That's
Thank you. And as a third track, funny enough, I'll pick something that's probably my mom's favorite. It's called Dondada. It's a track I did in 2018.
Okay.
Yeah. And that has this nearly kind of reggaeton, momba-tone vibe to it. Yeah. So I definitely recommend people go and listen to Dondada as well.
I know you're saying you're putting your feelers out this year to see which catches with people's imagination, etc. Do you think if they latch onto a specific song, would you then aim yourself more that direction, or would you keep being diversified in what you're doing?
Nah, I'll keep diversifying. I mean, I'm working on my own genre. I'm calling it Afrotone.
Nice.
And the reason being is I feel there's an element that I've brought to the table that like it hasn't existed before. You know, it's inspired by the greats, like one of my favorite artists. I'm gonna say his name, Stevie Wonder. Yeah, like he's inspired me a lot because he's just used his vocals and his instrumentation to just tell stories. You know, he's never really been genre bound. Like we might call him an R&B artist, but if you think about it, there's elements of country, there's elements of folk, there's elements of bluegrass, of jazz. It's just everywhere. So I don't see why I should confine myself just because, oh, well, people like this right now. People are flimsy, man. People move.
Exactly. People, I think new artists are very, very scared to lose their fan base. And that goes even further to established artists that keep repeating the same patterns. The songs sound the same because the albums sell.
Yeah.
But it just, you know, you're not going to push yourself. I mean, the best artists that we all love, I'd imagine, have moved. They've moved the goalposts for themselves. They've tried different things. Nobody should feel constrained by a specific genre just because they live near that genre. You can still reach out and do things. So. But yeah, well, you mentioned Stevie Wonder, and you wanted to speak about one of your favorite vinyls, and I believe you have it with you. So please introduce which vinyl we're going to have a chat about.
It's the 1980 Stevie Wonder, Harder Than July. This LP changed my life.
Yeah,
it really inspired the route I've taken as an artist in terms of, you know, as I said, just being diverse and being able to express yourself and just seeing what the track calls for instead of going, well, I'm going to do this. It's like, what does the track call for, and doing what the track calls for. So that's why I picked this record, because it's amazing. It's amazing.
What's the artwork on the back there, man? I can't see it.
Piano on Fire.
That's amazing. I've never seen that. I've never seen the actual one.
Yeah.
That's sweet. Because the front cover seems very, very familiar to me. We've seen that so many times. It's such an iconic photograph. Not photograph. Well, piece of art. I'm not sure if it's a painting, but the back of it that's sick, man. I didn't know that was there. How old were you when you discovered this album? Because 1980. I mean, you're what, 20, 21 year old, obviously. You know.
Thank you.
Hey. He's like,
we're
I got you,
friends
brother.
for life,
I got
brother.
you. I got you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I discovered, I've listened to Stevie nearly all my life. I started off with the Jackson 5 because I used to actually open for my uncles. They're a band in Zimbabwe, and I would sing the Jackson 5. So ABC, you know, I Want You Back. So I was introduced to Motown from the age of like 5, 6. And Stevie was there in that batch. Marvin Gaye, you know, Stevie Wonder, Jackson 5.
Man.
Pretty much. Yeah, Diana Ross.
That was the sound back then, man.
Yeah.
You know, and Motown had that. Jesus Christ, they had that. They just had that caliber of singers and artists and writers. Like the writing over there, like it's like I would always like remind people, because a lot of people don't really look at the behind the scenes, and they don't pay attention to the musicians who are involved. They don't pay attention to the producers who are involved. I always tip my hat off to those guys, the Smokey Robinsons. Like, you know, people like Smokey can sing, and Smokey is an artist, but Smokey did a lot of that pen. He did a lot of that penmanship over there, man. Smokey was writing for them cats. That's why he got so much money now. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, like, you know, you got Smokey, you got Norman Whitfield, like all of those writers over there in Motown. Crazy production, man. And back then, you know, times were harder, man. We didn't have computers and stuff making this music, man. Like you had like real instruments doing all of that stuff, you know. But yeah, but getting back, man, to the whole thing, man, you know, Stevie, I think that's definitely a testament to his loyalty, man. And you know, I think he's just one of those type of people, you know. Stevie is just, that's why I'm so happy that we're doing this record, because Stevie is just different. When it comes to musicianship, when it comes to being a businessman, he is just different, and he does what he feels is right. This man has I don't think I've ever heard anything bad about Stevie. Like this man has a great heart. I mean, he's just different, bro, you know, and like the world can do what they want or do as they please. Stevie is just going to do what he feels is right, you know. And that could be sticking with a label that treats all of their artists like crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if he's like, hey, I signed with you guys, I signed with you guys. You know?
I think that he negotiated himself in a way that he would make a lot of money, but he still stayed true to Motown Records.
Exactly.
I agree with you about him being loyal, but it's like you must remember that this is the music business. So even in terms of contract, it's like you don't know what he signed to. So even if every other artist on the label is being treated like rubbish or like crap or like shit, it's like that's not to say that he's on the same deal. It's like it's up to your
100%. Yes,
your management to make sure that you're on the best deal possible. If you ask me, I think that Stevie's where Stevie made his money is the fact that by the looks of it, that Motown gets zero off his performances. You know, so he's a touring artist. It costs nearly $250,000 to get Stevie to a concert. He's fine.
Yeah,
Like,
he's definitely fine.
Like if he's doing a world tour, that's like what, like 20-something shows. You do the math.
How is it that this album is the one that you would choose? Saying it changed your life rather than Songs in the Key of Life, or you know, why is it this one that's this?
It is one of those albums where when you look at it, in fact, there's like maybe 4 joints on this whole. There's 4 tracks on this whole album that were kind of like global success, like out of 10 tracks, which is still an amazing turnover. Like, but those 4 tracks, one, Master Blaster, he mentioned Zimbabwe, and that's kind of like really close to me.
That's what's up.
He mentioned Zimbabwean independence, even though the actual idea of it didn't really come into fruition, but just the idea that some artist that is that big at that point in their life can look at what's going on in a third world country and acknowledge it and put it in a song, you know. And then we got tracks like All I Do, which I don't know how many artists have covered, like, you know, and put out continuously because it's just such a good song, you know. And then you've got Lately. It's like
Lately's
happy birthday. Happy birthday's on this album.
Oh, that too. Fuck.
Like it's
Best stuff.
it's an album and a half, man.
Oh my god.
Yeah, man.
That's right. Yeah.
It's crazy. I do want to mention, so like I told you guys, like I just got back home from camping, and the ride was like from DC to where I was at. I was in Virginia, and it was like a 2-hour ride. So I'm sitting here getting ready for this podcast, and I'm on the road just cruising, and I'm like, man, let me pop on the Stevie album. I listened to it like twice just going down the road. I actually got sad the first time because when it reached, I didn't remember looking at the track list, so I was expecting more songs. When it reached Happy Birthday, I was like, wait, that's it? This is the end of the album, you know? So I had to like, you know, rewind the whole album, man. And I'm sitting there driving and I'm kind of taking my notes, but man, it was just like I'm going to save my comments for later because I really want us to like kind of let's do like a quick, you know, track by track. Like Jerome,
we're about to do that. But that's funny.
What are you thinking?
It's funny you mentioned that because like generally speaking, like for an album made in the early 80s, it's
right.
Every track is over 4 minutes. Except for hang on, except for As If You Read My Mind and
Cash in Your Face is just under.
Is Cash in Your Face less than 4 minutes? I think that's 4 minutes.
It's just
minutes,
under,
right?
or exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like right on the cusp. Like it's, but that was the thing with this album is that like none of the songs are like 3-minute pop song. None of them, not one.
Right.
None of them. There's nothing even close to. This is the pop single. There's no pop single in this album. This album's gonna fail. It's terrible. It's got no chance.
Right. That's what they say.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
right.
I think that's what they said.
Because nothing's. By the way, before we go like super track to track, Jerome, I want to ask you a question about that sort of thing because because like listening to your tracks, most of them are quite short, like 3 minutes, sub 3 minutes, that sort of thing. Do you do that because it's generally like nowadays kind of the thing, or are you just doing it because in that particular song you say what you need to say and you're done?
The truth is, when you're writing the amount of work that I'm writing, some songs are about 4 minutes, some songs like very few, like maybe 12 out of the 30 something tracks so far are above 4 minutes. But I'm saying I'm putting out so much content that you want somebody to be able to listen to January all the way to December. If all my songs are prolonged, you'll find some people might just look at the playlist and go, oh, you know. But then if I can give you a vibe and create vibes and you can kind of gauge the whole story, it makes you more interested. And you're like, oh, I want to listen to more. Oh, it's got replay value. That's why tracks have become shorter. Essentially, it's the whole idea of the replay value. You know, on Spotify, it's like every 5 plays usually will count for 1. You know, that's like kind of like how it's guaranteed, the industry is guaranteed. Even on YouTube, is every time somebody watches your video, it's like after every 5 times, then it counts for 1, depending on, you know, which algorithm you're sitting on, depending on your release date. And it's a whole thing. So yes, in terms of the industry, that I've done that purposefully because I understand that's how things work now. If you ask me the next album that we're building to, I would love to just be as musical as possible. You know, if a song is 7 minutes, I want it to be 7 minutes because it's 7 minutes, you know, and I don't want to restrict that. I love the fact that there's artists that still do it, but you have to have an audience to do that.
That's a great answer. I think it like letting every song.
That's an amazing answer.
Letting every song choose its own length, so letting it just be as it is rather than putting it within a tight box. That's great. And also understanding that you have to have the shorter things now to just get and then go, right, now I can express myself fully because I have this grounding and this following and this and this. That's great, man. Right, so the track listing, I presume it's the same on the LP that I'm looking at here, which it starts with "Did I Hear You Say You Love Me," which I think as an opening track is sick. I mean, we'll get to our favorite 3 when we finish like a quick overview of the album, but I think as an opening track, that is killer. And it starts off with, to be honest, what is that noise it starts off with before the track kicks in? It's like a little sizzle and there's something that happens like sound effects and then the song kicks in.
Yeah, it's like synths of some sort.
It's like this lovely build, but it's like a cacophony almost, and then it just goes bang straight into it. And All I Do Is Next, which you said is a great one. Rocket Love, I Ain't Gonna Stand for It. I mean,
but before you go in, before you stop talking about the first track, I actually wrote it down in my notes. I'm sitting there, man, I'm listening to the first one. I'm like, all right, yeah, you know, it's Stevie, it's groovy. And then all of a sudden, man, it breaks down and that drum beat keeps going and it goes straight into All I Do. And I was like, oh, snap. That was perfect.
Yeah, right.
That transition, right? Perfect, bro. Yeah. And like, I did not feel like, cause like you, like, if you're not paying attention, you don't realize that the song moves on. You know what I'm saying? You don't realize like, oh snap, we're in the second track now. That transition was, that thing was ace, man. Like I tipped that, and I tipped my hat off to Stevie for that.
As you said, there's Stevie, and there's a heavy funk element in that first track. Where it's like, ooh, you know, he's vocal on that. It's not a usual Stevie. It's quite attack. Right. Kind of like it's full. But that was it for me. It was like, okay. And then that transition, that took me away. So like, as you said, it might not have been planned, but it's there.
Yeah, man. That thing was there. So I love seeing those musical connections, man. Steve, what else did you have on that track list, brother?
Well, we got I Ain't Gonna Stand for It, which
I ain't gonna stand for it.
Yeah.
Now, the thing with
the thing with that track.
Johnny, relax. Chill the fuck out, Johnny.
I'm sorry. Where I'm from, we throw stuff at you when you sound good. So that's
Jerome,
a compliment.
I was doing a gig once. Okay. I was doing a gig and one of our friends was singing I can't remember which. Maybe Duke was singing, or one of our friends was singing with us, and he did this riff, and Johnny literally just took his hat off and just threw it in his face in the middle of the song. He's like, "Whoa."
I don't think
Oh
it was a
yeah.
hat.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
I think it was like a handkerchief or
Oh, it
something
was a
like
handkerchief.
that.
It was
And,
a
like,
handkerchief. That's what it was.
Yeah, because I had my suit on and I needed something to throw at him, and he did something. I was standing like right next to him, and I just took my hand. I was like,
But the thing is, it hit the mic. So literally, he did this awesome little rundown, this riff. Doof. He just said this. Doof. Doof. But yeah,
I had to apologize to the whole pub. I was like, I'm sorry, guys. I'm from the States, so when you sound that good, you get stuff thrown at you. You know what I'm saying?
It was a sign of respect that everybody in the room took as a sign of disrespect.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Steve.
I just say, I Ain't Gonna Stand For It, I think, is one of the strongest songs in a sense of when you hear it, you recognize the song. So many people have done it.
Yeah.
But I think it's the worst verse and the worst verse vocal on the album. I hate his vocal on the verse. It kills me.
I think it's lyrically the laziest song on the album.
I think it's where you're coming from. You see, because he's put a country vocal on that because the message is directed at those people.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
the
Because he does
fact
the
that
Texas, he does the drawl, like
So-
the Texas drawl type. Oh, not Texas, but that
Yeah.
part of America drawl. Yeah.
Yeah, Southern drawl.
The vocal, even the whole idea. Think about the lyric. I ain't gonna stand for it. This is at a point where people are being oppressed.
Yeah.
Like, think about what that's doing.
Yeah, man. Especially in those states as well.
Yeah,
Right.
so for me for him to do a country track, and that's also a reason why I love this album, is you're right. Out of all the songs on the album, if you were to compare it as an R&B head or as a Stevie Wonder kind of somebody that just loves Stevie doing Stevie, you'd look at it and be like, yeah, that's kind of poor. But then I listened to it about 5-6 times actually before we had this, because I was like, I'm missing something here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm listening with the wrong ears. You know, I'm not listening with the right ears. And
Right.
I understood it more and more the more I listened to it, because all the elements were so not Stevie. And it was like, actually, the message in this is not, it's not for us more than anything. It's directed at a certain people at that time and that are listening to his music. And that he's reaching and he can say openly in a record.
Eric Clapton released this song and it was pretty much in every way the exact same as the Stevie Wonder recording. But people gave Stevie Wonder way more shit about this song.
So anyway, I was gonna say, do you think that's like colorism? Because like some type of form of like colorism. Because I mean, you got a black guy doing the song and then you got a white guy doing it, and then it gets, received a certain way. You know what I'm saying?
Like, I have a problem with a lot of this because we all develop our own opinions about these things, which is fine. It's when opinions are pushed on us that I kind of go, It's it's the audience that is listening to the track. It's what's going on in the UK right now with Meghan and Harry. When people think about it, it's like, oh, black girl enters into this establishment and then they leave the establishment for whatever reason. For me, it's like, guys, it is what it is. What does it mean to you? Like, that's the question you should be asking yourself. What does it mean to you? Like, when you listen to the track, does it speak to you? If it does, then cool. If it doesn't, then don't fuck with it. That's up to you. That's your perspective. Develop your perspective. Don't let the world dictate what you are gonna think. Go and listen to the record and you decide.
It's good to take in the different points of view, like we all have different points of view. And I think everyone should try and do that. And then when you've got that information, add it to the way you feel, maybe do this, but you should never just be told what to think. You're completely correct then about anything in life, especially music from this point of view in this podcast.
Yeah. Because I was going to mention how, people, I know this like firsthand because people are so quick to put color on music. Now, music is a colorful thing, but music is full of multiple different colors. You know what I'm saying? It's not black, white, you know what I'm saying? It's not, and it's not a racial thing. Like, You gotta watch One Night in Miami because there's a character Leslie Odom. He plays Sam Cooke, and there's a scene in there where he mentions, I think, Muhammad Ali. No, Malcolm, the character that plays Malcolm X, is talking about, you know, white music versus black music and this and that, and how black people need to do this and black people need to do that with their music and stuff because they got power and this and that. And Sam Cooke's character mentioned something like, look, man, I had this artist. This artist wrote this song. It reached like number 35 on the Billboard charts, which is like decent. You know what I'm saying? He's on the billboards. You know, that's good. Then they get a British band, all white band, like the Rolling Stones or something like that, to you know, they get permission to cover that song. The song blows up and it stays at number one for like a very long time. Now, of course, you, the writer, you're kind of upset, the writer and the artist, because the same guy that wrote the song is also the one that recorded it. He's like upset. He's like, man, like, you know, I wish it would have went number one when I did it. Like, you know, what's up? But when he saw them royalty checks come in, he said, well, dang, all right, you know, y'all want me to write something else? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Y'all want some more music? You know, what's up? You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you're still winning. It's like, you know, yeah, you might not get the fame and nothing like that, but you're still winning. And then and that music is so universal. It goes back to what I'm saying. It's like, you know, it's just something that we all can't help but share. You know, the fact that if I write a song and people are feeling it from all over the world to the point where they even want to cover that song, you know what I'm saying? It can be an Asian, it can be a Latino, it can be, you know, a white man, another black man, you know, like the fact that they just want to cover that song and just because they love it that much, that says a lot, bro. That says that you did your job at the end of the day. We got 2 guests now. This is amazing.
I was trying to bring it back to the album because I was saying like the number one track is Master Blaster on side 2.
This is one of the first big records where I heard Zimbabwe being mentioned.
Right.
And for me, it was like, okay, fine. He's paying tribute to a culture because it's got a reggae element to it, you know. And he's also paying tribute to a continent, you know, like he's acknowledging the continent and what's happening in the continent. And for me, that was big. That was a big move. Like, this is a pop artist. This is a commercial selling artist that's paying tribute to like what's going on somewhere else besides America. And already there's so much happening in America for him to talk about. But he's highlighting what's happening in Africa as a win to hopefully motivate the people where he's at to also keep on striving to win, because he's like, I can see, like, you know, that soon we're gonna be jamming, you know.
Right.
He's also paying tribute to Bob Marley to a certain extent as well. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's a big record.
Exactly. I want to quickly mention my sister Crystal. I actually hit up Crystal yesterday while I was listening to the album. Because Crystal, we have an old coworker that we used to work with from Trinidad. And she was like the quickest person I could find from the Caribbean. So I wanted to, you know, kind of hit her up and get her insight on how she feels about not only the song, but an American doing a reggae tune. You know what I'm saying? And she actually had like some decent insight. She actually told me to hit up one of my other homies, Palmer, who used to work with us. And Palmer's actually like from Jamaica, and he's a DJ.
Yeah, think about it this way: all the acts, right, in Jamaica would cover American songs. That's how it came to be. Is they would do reggae covers of whatever pop records were going on in the States. For the first time ever, you're hearing the American being inspired by the Jamaican / Caribbean culture.
Exactly right.
And not shying away from it.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that's big. That is big. That's the reverse of what was happening. It's what we're talking about in terms of culture. How hip hop is being inspired by drill in the UK. But this guy, by calling the song jamming, he's he's doing that on purpose because he doesn't want people to say this is a Stevie sound, this is a Stevie record. He's actually openly saying he says it openly. We're paying Bob Marley on the Master Blaster. You know, like, he's saying this in his lyrical content. He's paying tribute to not just an artist, but to a whole sound, and also, as I said, to a whole continent. Huge.
It's amazing for him to tip his hat at the height. Maybe not the height of his powers, but I suppose maybe. I mean, Stevie's been so high up there forever, but for him to tip his hat to all those things within one song, and just from a musical point of view, the song is killer as well. It's not like just a lyrical thing. Like, he's paying homage with a great song. One of my favorite all-time songs. Definitely one of my favorite Stevie songs. Like, it's a piece of genius. And to start the second side of an LP with this, to be that first time you heard the album, to turn it over, to put it on, to put the needle down. Like, to hear that, oh man.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's a great opener.
Yeah. The next song is
Like You.
Do Like You.
Do Like You. Did you guys like that song?
The only thing I could say, maybe when you listen to it again, is there's a soft, like, punkish rock vocal on that that I think people would miss, which may have actually inspired a culture without us even realizing.
You think so?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's hard,
Like,
yo.
if you think, because it's a funky pop record. It's not. It's not funk. It's not pop. It's not R&B. You know what I mean? It's like got, as I say, it's got soft rock vocal on it, and it's got this funky poppy sound to it.
Yeah.
It's awkward. As I say, it's my least favorite on the album.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's my least favorite on the album. I agree.
But yeah, like, when I listen back to it, I'm like, oh, okay, this may have actually still, like, there's an element of punkish kind of vibe to it.
I feel like these two songs are the biggest lull in the album, and I'm not sure if that's on purpose because
y'all didn't like Cash in Your Face.
No, it's not even like it. It's just like it's eh.
It's an early R&B record, you know. It kind of birthed the R&B sound that we call R&B today. And that's the thing. That's what I'm saying is when I listen to this album, I just hear so many different elements in it. And that's why I look at this album and I hold it so highly. Yes, they're the two out of the whole album. Yes, it's not my favorite, definitely. And it's not up there. But I'm saying you're comparing it to a bunch of tracks that are like out this world. If you were to take All I Do and rate it out of 10, you'd probably say 15. If you were to take even Rocket Love and rate it out of 10, you might say 11, 12. If you were to take Jamming and rate it out of 10, you might say 20. If you were to take Lately and rate it out of 10, you might say, again, 14, 15. If you were to take Happy Birthday, it's also up there, 18. So then you have a bunch of tracks that are sitting on 8 and 9.
I think Lately has got to be one of the best ballads written ever, like in popular culture. Definitely one of Stevie's, and Stevie's written some great ones. I think that song is flawless. It's goosebumps flawless.
Yeah, name a track that does that as a singer or as a vocalist tests your range. It makes you really stretch. You stretch yourself, and on top of that, it's like one of the most timeless records ever. When you say ballads, like, yeah, it's definitely up there in the top 3 ballads of all time, if you ask me. There's, I don't know, writing wise, I don't know how he penned that, but the man penned something that for real will be here for the next 5,000 years.
To have a song like that defines the way you felt at that moment, that also taps into every single one of us that we've felt that, and then to follow that up with a song that's so joyous as Happy Birthday, it's absolute genius way to finish an album.
Ain't it?
Genius.
Ain't it? That's crazy.
A lot of people they have no idea who he wrote it about. And like, for him to celebrate the movement in America in the way he did, and pay respect to the voice of a generation of black men and women during that period.
Wait, who was he talking about?
Chevy Chase.
Oh my God.
Chevy Chase?
No, Grant. No, it's about Martin Luther King, obviously. But for him to write,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. But for him to have like saying Master Blaster talking about the stuff he talks about, Master Blaster talking about Zimbabwe, and then to finish it with a happy birthday song that ties in with the black movement in America, or the civil rights movement, sorry, because white people were involved and on the good side of things as well.
So we talk about our favorite 3 tracks.
Master Blaster, All I Do, Lately.
There you go.
Right, Grant,
Master
your top
Blaster.
3?
My top 3?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say from least favorite to most favorite, I'm gonna say Master Blaster, Lately, All I Do.
All right, I'll go next, and then Johnny can finish it.
I'm so happy to go last.
And I thought I'd let you. Mine is "Did I Hear You Say You Love Me?" Because I just think it's such a great tune and a great start to a classic album. And then the other 2 songs, they just choose themselves, in my opinion. It's Master Blaster and Lately. They're just 2 of the best songs in their genre.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So mine's is All I Do. The rhythm of just like the flow of like the verses. You know? And then he just like even like when he kind of goes back into, but let me tell you, girl, like those runs, oh my god,
really
he's
nice.
just like killing it. And then but then you get to the hook and it just gets and it just kind of gets wavy, man. He's just chilling. It's All I Do for me is Rocket Love.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually enjoy Rocket Love. Like it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but like that groove, wasn't that like a bossa type of groove? It was like very jazzy.
Yeah. Look
So
at the
I
fro.
was
Look
really,
at the
really
hair.
feeling
Johnny, somebody dropped your hair, man.
He actually took my hair. I got a haircut, right?
You got a haircut. Whoa, your hair's gone. You've given it to the little man.
Yeah, man.
His hair's
Yeah, I got a
amazing.
haircut.
Hi, man.
Yeah. I gave it to the little one.
Yeah,
But,
Johnny's fro has been at so many different elements over the last couple of years.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I haven't finished my top 3. so Rocket Love. It has like that bossa groove, super jazzy, but like the lyrics are just amazing. And once again, his lyrical flow, it's like he's just like I honestly like I never thought about it until listening to this album. I might want to like pick that up and like add it to my track list, like on sax. Like that might be like a dope. If I can find a backing track to that, I might start gigging and playing that, because it's like I can only imagine like hearing like a saxophone player play that track. So it's super dope. And this one is gonna make you guys laugh, but Cash in Your Face.
I knew you were gonna say that. I
know. Cash in Your Face. I know how you guys. I understand how you guys feel. But that was one of the songs I had to take it back. I'm listening to it and I wasn't paying any attention to it. The title already attracted me and the title already caught my attention because I was like, you're thinking he's going to talk about something else. But when you're listening to it, you're like, oh. So then you have to rewind it and then really listen to like the story that he's telling. It's a story. It's like legit a whole story that he's saying. I'm into finding those hidden gems. When we cover Michael Jackson albums, every single one of his tracks aren't singles. He's got like 4 or 5 singles out of like 10 tracks, but every single one is not there. But you always find like 1 or 2 tracks that you probably never hear it on the radio. You probably never see him do it live. It's that one track that you're like, yo, this is dope. Like I wish he would perform this live. You know what I'm saying? Just because I think it's just so amazing, So I'm just that type of music listener where, I try to find like those things that I know are not like the biggest tune. And I try to find something positive, or find like some pros and cons to it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, like, Cash in Your Face, that's really besides the fact. The reason why I picked it was because the message that's in it, it's deep, bro. The message is saying that no matter how much money you got back then, you know, when you were trying to find a place to stay, you're trying to apply for something, you're trying to, you know, do your thing. You can have all the money in the world and sit there and try to, you know, try to get something. Like, you're trying to get this apartment, you're trying to get this house, and you got to show your face to the person who's selling you this house. They don't have to sell it to you. You can have $1 million right now. That house could be $20,000, and you can say, yo, I'll give you this for $1 million. They still don't have to sell it to you because of the look that you have, because of the color of your skin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I could just really relate to that song, because as a black man, I'm just like, bro, like, I can only imagine, like, you going somewhere, you got all the money to get this spot, you know what I'm saying? And you're telling yourself, you're telling the realtor, like, yo, this is like where I want to be. I don't care how much it costs, bro. I got the money. Give me this spot, man. Like, and I've been here, I've been there. I got a degree, I got a good job. I'm doing boom, boom, boom. You're not gonna have to worry about me. I'm a quiet tenant, whatever. And they still say no. But that message, man, that thing, it really hit home for me. Like, you know, so I really enjoyed it.
That shows how personal music can be, even on a huge scale like this album, that it can still not speak to me as a, you know, privileged white dude in England. I'm not saying you're not privileged, Johnny. You know, you're from a nice family, you know. But I'm just saying, you know, but it speaks to like a personal thing to yourself, you know.
Yeah, man. You know, yeah, Alfred's upstairs. He's probably wondering. I'm about to text him and tell him to warm up my lunch.
Yeah, man. He's
sitting up there for a minute.
He's chilling in the West Wing, you know.
Right, you know, he's chilling.
Yeah,
this is a great album that covers so many things.
Great,
Jerome,
man.
thank you for bringing it to us and getting us to listen to it again.
Yeah.
You know, any of our listeners who might be younger or might not have come across this album, or maybe you just heard Master Blaster or whatever, get the album. I mean, we're blessed now that we can just go on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever it is, and literally listen to it. Yeah,
YouTube,
you know, you don't
easy. YouTube. Yeah, YouTube, G. But yeah, man. But Jerome, man, we thank you so much, bro. Because like I said, like we said in the text, like when we were hitting you up, when you mentioned doing a Stevie album, you know, we were like, bro, we've been wanting to do Stevie for a long time. There's a few artists that we're like, oh man, like we really want to do these artists, and we want to do their album, but we really want to make sure that we have the physical vinyl copy before we do it.
Hey, Jerome, what's the best way for people to find your stuff, man?
Yeah, I'm everywhere pretty much. I'm on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, Tidal. Yeah, you can get me on anything, you know, in terms of even YouTube, as I said.
Everybody give it up for our man Jerome. Now it's Jerome Arab, Jerome Arab, Jerome Arab. All of our listeners and our viewers out there, make sure you go and check out Jerome Arab. Yeah. Make sure you check out his music. Make sure you check, like, this dude's catalog is crazy. You know, you can find us on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube. If you're a real podcast listener, Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, we're everywhere, baby. So just make sure you check us out. Stay tuned for more episodes, more content, and we're going to keep it locked, man. You know, thanks again, beautiful people.